Hello, we are live. How's it going?
Great.
My name is Stacy Nell, and I'm the executive director of the Kansas African American Affairs Commission. Today is our weekly lunch and learn, and I am thrilled to be joined today by Jondalyn Marshall and Joanna Marks.
Yes.
Yes, good, fantastic. With Destination Innovation out of Wichita. And I always love embarrassing the people that I bring on because I'm gonna read your bio. Jondalyn is what I'm gonna do. Jondalyn, I know people are like, I didn't know you're going to do that. Jondalyn has organized Root the Power since 2018, guiding the program through a successful expansion in size and impact. Her experience as an entrepreneur, business owner, coaching individuals and groups in pursuit of their wellness goals has equipped her to be a skilled mentor and facilitator with the youth involved in Root the Power and a connector with other community partners. Jondalyn has a master's degree in business administration, experience working in both businesses and nonprofit administration, which makes her invaluable to our internal operations and sustainability as an organization. I know, isn't it nice when people say nice things about you? I know.
Yes.
Here. Yes. So thank you, Jondalyn. Joanna, I don't have a bio for you, but we will get to you in a second, young lady. I just wanted to start. Of course, this is a lunch and learn. So my first question is always, what are you having for lunch?
We're going to eat Chipotle. Yeah, we're talking about Chipotle afterwards. Yes, because we're on our health kick.
So not pizza.
No.
Passing on the pizza this time.
No pizza.
Oh man, sometimes you got to have some pizza.
Right. What are you eating?
Yes, what are you eating?
Leftovers from last night. Got some chicken parmesan and some grilled broccoli.
Oh, see,
That's healthy.
You know, it's Dinnerly. It's one of those box subscriptions because even like during the pandemic, I got sick of my own cooking because we suddenly had to cook every day. You know, you couldn't go anywhere.
Yes.
And so my kids didn't like my cooking, and even I was getting sick of my cooking. And I'm like, we're doing a box subscription. So we've been doing it ever since then.
Is the variety pretty good? I've heard of it, but okay.
And now my kids know how to cook. They're 11 and 13, and we can because they've been doing this for like 2 years, right? We can give them a recipe and take it. They start to finish. They'll cook the whole thing.
That's amazing. I might need to look into that because I'm gonna be honest. Some days I don't feel like cooking, and so if I could teach them to cook for themselves, that'd be great.
There you have it. Okay, that was a total sidebar. Destination Innovation and Root the Power. So I know if we were to Google Root the Power, and I think Sierra, if you've got that first link about Root the Power, if you can drop them. When I was Googling learning about your organization, it says that Destination Innovation is a program. Root the Power is a program of Destination Innovation.
Yes.
For those of us who are not in the Wichita area, who may not have heard about your programs or Destination Innovation, can you just give us a general background about what Destination Innovation does, the different programs, and how you got involved with them?
Sure. Okay. Destination Innovation Inc. is a youth hub. Okay. We have 3 programs. We have Progeny, which is our social justice piece. It is geared towards youth who have been touched by the juvenile justice system, and they work on policies, try to create change. And their ultimate goal is to shut down the last youth prison in Kansas. Then we have Camp Destination Innovation, which is our entrepreneur piece. Young people who are interested in possibly starting their own businesses, right? So we have this camp that's held in June for a month long. And every week, or actually every day, they have local entrepreneurs come and speak with them. They even take field trips to some of the sites or whatnot. And then during the last week, they prepare for this trade show where they pitch their businesses to judges. And they have first, second, and third winners. And the first place winner won like $600 a few weeks ago. So it's just a beautiful program. And of course, then you have our Civic Engagement piece, which is Root the Power, which I am the program manager of. And every season, we recruit 8 to 10 interns, Joanna being one of them. And what we do is we train them and we kind of get them ready to register people to vote. We do voter engagement events. We canvass. We were just talking about that earlier today, or actually earlier, just a minute ago. And Joanna was even saying that she, of all the things that we do, that she actually likes the canvassing, where we go and we knock on doors and we just have conversations and invite people, into our community events. So how I got involved, we were originally the Seed House, and I do have an accounting background. So I was initially hired as a part-time bookkeeper. And so as you know how it is when you're a grassroots organization, all hands on deck. And so as programming was growing and growing, I mean, it was just one of those things that I naturally fell into this leadership position. It was just one of the things that I really, really was passionate about. I have always been an avid voter. I've actually worked for the Central County Election Office. So it was one of those things that it just made sense. And I just love working with young people. I really feel like they are our future. I feel like it's our responsibility to support and give them the resources to become the new leaders of the next generation. So it's just one of those things that's, like I said, a natural progression into this role.
I mean, I'm not sure how many people would think a natural progression would be from bookkeeper to program. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is, I've talked with so many people where that the way we find ourselves sort of in the civic engagement work space is we didn't wake up when we were, I mean, Joanna, you're ahead of the curve, right? So many of us, we didn't wake up as teenagers and think, I want to be involved in civic engagement. We're like, I'm a CPA and I was a stay-at-home mom who taught yoga. And now I'm, it's like we sort of just followed the road as it develops in front of us. Okay. So there's the 3 programs of destination innovation, the progeny with children touched by juvenile justice. And so I think that's good work. And I hope to bring Marquita Atkins on to talk about that.
Yes.
But the month of June, I really have been trying to focus a lot on voter engagement, which is why I totally thought you would be a good person to bring on. Because obviously we have a couple of really important elections coming. All elections are important, but every year I feel like this is the most important election. Yes. And so you've been working in the youth space. Tell us some of the things. I know, like on your website, it talks about vote mob, or like your voter registration efforts. Well, how are those programs run?
Okay, so our voter engagement events, like we just had a Rock the Block a few weeks ago. I believe that you were there.
Yeah.
But those events, to me, like the Rock the Block, is very important because I feel like you can't change and create community without community. And so we're very diligent about and intentional about making sure that we throw these events in the community, canvassing the week of, knocking on doors and inviting, people to these events. Like I was telling Joanna, I said, you can't rock the block without the block. Okay.
Yeah.
So we definitely make sure that we're intentional about the spaces that we're creating in the community. And we have voter registration tables at these events. We actually have literature that actually helps educate some of our, the people who come out. And then as far as voter registration efforts, over the last 2 years, we have collaborated with a lot of community partners. We have registered over 100 new voters. It's just been a wonderful thing to be a part of. Vote Mob. Vote Mob is like one of our annual big events that we have. We call it like a party on the courthouse. So what we do is before the general election, and what we do is it's really an early voting celebration. So we get a DJ, we get free tacos, we get youth speakers, and we celebrate people who are going to come out and early vote, but specifically first-time voters. I have witnessed and been a part of at least 2 of our interns where it's their first time voting. And so what we do is we line up and we put our first-time voters in the front. We party and we get in there and we vote together. It's just a beautiful thing. Beautiful, beautiful thing.
That is awesome. Those first-time voters, because I know the stats. I've heard the stats before. We had Lindsay Ford on 2 weeks ago talking about voter registration, that if a person hasn't voted by the time that they're 35, chances are they will never vote.
Right.
And so how key it is to get those 18-year-olds into the habit of voting, because then they'll just be like, oh, yeah, this is what I do. I vote. So that we're not dealing with people trying to convince adults to get more involved.
Right, right. And I think that's exactly why our program is so important. And also, one thing I've learned about young people, they're more apt to listen to a peer than an adult. Let's just be honest. I mean, it's just one of those things where, I've watched magic happen when our interns engage other young people, and they're more apt to be like, okay, let me listen, or where do I sign up, or what's going on? What are you guys doing? Where do can we be a part of it? So it's just magnetic, and I'm just proud of all of them because they do such good work.
So you've been talking about the interns, and we're lucky enough to have an intern with us today, Miss Joanna Marks. Now, you are a junior at Washburn University, but you're from the Wichita area.
Yes.
So how did you hear about Destination Innovation? What was your inroad? Were you the assistant bookkeeper? Like, or did things stumble into? Like, how did you come involved?
I knew Marquita Atkins from social media, so I saw her always posting about Camp Destination Innovation, and I just never had an entrepreneurial mindset, but I wanted to be involved, and so she posted about Root the Power, and I'm studying political science there. I know I want to go into politics and law, and so when she posted that, I was like, I have to do it, and so then we interviewed, and we got the position.
Fantastic. So what are some of the responsibilities that you have? Is it like jack of all trades? Do you do one thing or just whatever?
Like this, I have become the spokesperson. I've been helping go around speaking on different panels or different Zooms like this. Like she mentioned, I like canvassing for the different events we set up, like just knocking on the doors, talking to our neighbors in the community and getting them out to each event. And then just hosting the events and having fun with your community, eating some food, listening to music, discussing social issues and voter registration. So yeah, kind of all over the place, just mixing and matching.
All right. And can I be so bold as to ask how old you are?
I'm 21.
21. So
Yeah.
for all the other people out here because I talk to a lot of people about canvassing. And so many people are like, I can't knock on doors. I don't know. Here is this wonderful young woman, this beautiful young woman who at her ripe young age of 21 says that her favorite thing is canvassing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Tell me why it's your favorite thing.
Because it does have the highest percentage of getting the community out, and you do just get a better connection with people when you're meeting face to face as opposed to on a Zoom, a call. Because I have tried phone banking, but it's not the same because people aren't going to answer the phone. And you're more likely to answer your door because you're like, who is at my door bothering me? And so it's like, hey, how's it going today? And just seeing their faces and then making that connection once you see them at the event again is very nice. And I hate when people say they don't like it because I consider myself an introvert or maybe an ambivert where I switch back and forth, but you can open up and get your community out. And I am passionate about helping make the change. And so I do like seeing the people come and participate as well. And if I want them to participate, I should be participating and being out there too.
There it is. So, and I want to, you've just said a lot. So thank you. Thank you for being engaged. And I want to back up and highlight one of the things that you said is that knocking doors, canvassing is one of the best ways to actually have the conversations with people. Oftentimes with voter engagement efforts, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to knock doors. And like, well, do you want to make phone calls? I don't want to make phone calls. But they're very concerned about yard signs. We need to get yard signs out. I'm like, well, yard signs have their place. Right. Don't get me wrong. They have their place. But the only way to really engage people and help them know why they should vote or that it's important to vote is to talk to them. So it's definitely very important. My phone's ringing. All right. It's definitely very important to have those face-to-face conversations. So thank you. Mm-hmm. Now you say you're studying politics. So what do you want to do?
I'm studying political science. I plan to go to law school, but I just finished the internship at the Capitol with Fauscudo. And I think I want to run for Senate eventually too. Like that did sound
excited there for a second.
I know, that's what I've learned. She's been the only Black woman in there for 18 years. So I was like, might as well be the second.
I mean, I tried. I did what I could up here in Johnson County. I lost my election, but that's all right. But no, I thank you for that, because I think it is so important that you want to run. Now, let me not talk for you. Why do you want to run?
Just to be another loudmouth in there, to not
that we're saying that she's allowed.
Maybe not another.
You're about to get all of us in trouble.
But someone to hopefully stick to what they're doing, because I see that people do go into politics with the plan to make the change, but then you get in there and you're the minority and you get discouraged. And so I plan to be able to fight that off and still stick to what I really would like to accomplish for minorities, instead of just flipping the script and being like, I'm going to agree with you all of a sudden, just for whatever reason they decide to switch their morals.
Right.
But I also, after that, I really want to go into nonprofit work, because I tell Jondalyn often that homelessness and food insecurity has been a big issue that I've struggled with in my life. And so I want to be able to do nonprofit work, targeting that.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I think, I've had a lot of conversations with you younger people, and people who work with younger people. And sometimes I'm like, the kids are all right. It's that phrase, like, the kids are all right. Yeah. We could just sort of get my generation to let go of some stuff. Just let the younger people do it. Okay. So, and are you finishing up your internship with Root the Power, or are you?
Yes, I think so. We might be.
You want to become more involved moving forward, or?
Yes, that's what I will be starting another one when I go back to Washburn, hopefully working with Kansas Dems, organizing on campus, still doing voter registration specifically at Washburn.
Gotcha. Now, I do want to ask a question. Either one of you can answer this, because I know there's been a lot of rumors and speculation about voter registration and the laws that have been passed in terms of if people can or cannot register people to vote. Sometimes people have been afraid to register people to vote, or there's been hesitancies to register people to vote. Right. So how have you dealt with sort of the shifting sands underneath our feet in terms of that? And what would you say to people who might be watching?
Okay, so it has been a struggle the last, I would say, year and a half. I mean, where we could be more personable, where we could reach out, where we could do so much more, like, even the canvassing, right? And knocking on doors and registering people to vote. It has totally changed the whole dynamic of how we register people to vote. So now we're just handing out these QR codes or informational pieces. And to be honest, I just feel like that's not personable enough for me. Mm-hmm. And so it's been a shift, and we're just doing and navigating and doing the best that we can. Even at our Rock the Block, we had like tablets out, right? So that when people would come to the table, where we wouldn't even just yes, handing them a piece of paper, but actually giving them the technology to be able to do it right then and there. But as far as trying to build the relationships and trying to connect with them, it just totally took that piece out for us, because we were afraid of, being deemed as an elected official who was trying to do too much, or, what I'm saying? It just really took that piece out of it. And it's sad. It's really sad. I mean, voter suppression is real. And it's often very quiet until it gets passed, and then we have to deal with the consequences, which is why it's important for us to get out there and make sure that we're on top of what they're passing, in Topeka, and just stay on top of who we elect in these spaces, for real.
And I think, that's, if people who are watching this may not be aware, there was a whole spate of election bills, they'll call it election security bills that were passed, and it is very confusing. It's very confusing in terms of what organizations like Root the Power can do in terms of voter registration. So, and I only bring that up because it almost feels like every day there's a new court ruling, and I know the people at Loud Light have been paying attention to that as well to try to get information. It's a shifting landscape. Yeah. So, but if you ever see people who are out helping people get registered to vote, please do just get registered to vote. We have links where you can, and these are linked from your page as well. So if you go to Root the Power, and please go to the Root the Power, that's already in the chat. But they also link out to where you can find your polling place, and that's on the Kansas Secretary of State website. And then you can even link out to, there's a thing called Ballot 411 or Vote 411, where you can get information about what's on your ballot. And I know because this goes out to the whole state. It's not just the Wichita area, but these are statewide. It's not just a Wichita website. You can get that information to find out where to go vote.
Yes.
I'm also steady trying to keep an eye on the chat. Oh yes. Democracy requires participation, and without voting, we don't have a democracy. That's Mark McCormick is mentioning in the chat. Voting is just so key. So now, Miss Joanna, as the youth, tell us why you know that voting is so key. Again, I'm an old middle-aged woman here. So for the youth here, what would you say to your peers, right? That 18 to 21, what would you say to them as to why they should vote or why they should get involved?
Because it is directly impacting us, especially at the local level. Like, just how much of your tuition is going to cost is going to be handled by that. And we mentioned like the trash in the streets, maybe like cleanup crews, and where the funds will go for that. People don't understand that some of the problems in their day-to-day lives are a legislative issue. And so they don't know that voting is where they should be pressing their issue. And so it's really just that, and understanding that a lot of the things in our lives are impacted by who we are voting for. So we should be knowledgeable about the representative that we're choosing and what their policies are, like especially for school, education and cleaning, medical care, a lot of things like that they'll be going into policy.
Do you have when you talk to your peers, like people at college, how does that go? Do people do they respond, yeah, you're right, I should? Or are people like, politics, psh?
You get in the middle, like it's half and half, maybe, where some are knowledgeable, where they're like, yes, I definitely do need a vote because I am understanding what you're saying, that it is impacting me. And then others are still on the edge where they're like, I don't see where my vote is going to be mattering so much. But I think that's more on a national, like presidential elections. But that's where we're just trying to encourage more and reassure people that the vote definitely does matter, especially locally and statewide. But yeah, it's in the middle.
Definitely. Fantastic. All right, let me see. Let me go back to my notes. We talked about the vote mob and the registration efforts, the internship. How, and I'm sure this is on the website, but how can other youth apply for internships? If people are watching this and they're like, yes, I would love to get an internship or I would love to get involved, how do they get involved?
Just contact us. Get on the website, Destination Innovation Inc. DestinationInnovation.org. And like Joanna said, she's seen the other two programs and they weren't a fit for her, but Root the Power was. And the same thing. Some people are not into civic engagement, or young people are not into civic engagement, and that's okay. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur. Maybe you have a friend or someone you know and love who have been touched by the juvenile justice system. We have other programs that you can plug into. Contact us. We check our inboxes regularly, reach out. Because one thing about our program, we love our young people. And if you reach out to us, we have a space for you. If we don't have one, we're going to make one.
And yeah, I think honestly, I was in June, was at the Kansas African American Museum for a Juneteenth program, and there was a group from Destination Innovation there, and they were learning about Black Kansas history, and they were it was very involved. They were grouped out into tables, and each group was making presentations. They actually got a chance to present for the governor. So I know there's definitely programs. I like that. I'm just reiterating what you said, that if it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to do voter engagement, there's still space in Destination Innovation for young people to get involved.
Right.
Fantastic. Okay. So is there anything else you want to pitch? Any activities happening? Are there any upcoming events?
Well, I know right now we are phone banking, right? All week up until the actual primary election. I think we're making calls the day of. But I really want us to get out and canvass this week. If the heat don't strike us down, we're going to try to door knock, because like we said, that more people are more prone to come out to the polls if they actually have somebody. Sometimes all it is just for somebody to simply invite you or, say, hey, you have a voting plan. You should come vote. Sometimes that's all it takes. So depending on the weather and what day is the lowest heat, we plan on getting out and door knocking.
Yeah. That is the one thing about August elections that means you're always door knocking in the July heat.
Yes.
Which is something. Okay, so make sure you carry lots of water or Gatorade or whatever along those lines. It's really important. Do you have any for example, when I first met you, it was at a Root the Power event that was going on in the community. Do you have any events coming up that you'd like to promote?
No, not until after the primary, and that's when we start setting up for our candidates forum, trying to get ready for the general election. So we usually wait till after the primary, and then we get, when there's determined who the actual candidate is going to be for the general, and then we set up candidates forums. We continue to do registrations, but we won't have solidified dates yet until we get, I think everybody's kind of focusing on this primary. I think our hearts and everything, like all hands in for this primary at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well then I will make a note to touch back after so that to help you promote your candidate forums. Because I think that's really good to have an opportunity for people to see the candidates, hear what they have to say, and know who they're voting for and why.
Yes.
I think those are wonderful services for the community. So we will definitely touch base. Okay, so we've been talking about the upcoming August election. It's a special election. I'm trying to train myself to call it a special election and not a primary because so many unaffiliated voters sometimes can be confused as well. I don't vote in primaries because I'm unaffiliated. So I'm trying to train myself to say special election.
Yes.
So this special election is happening on August 2nd. As near as I can tell, early voting has started anywhere that has early voting by now. It has begun. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have some links. Well, again, if you go to the links for the polling place to find out where your polling place is, or if you check your county election office, whatever county you're in.
Yes.
You guys are in Sedgwick. I live in Johnson. I know I've specifically looked up Douglas County, but if you go to whatever county and Wyandotte County, I've specifically looked up those. If you go to your county election office, you should be able to find the times and locations for any early voting, because that's going to obviously vary. So please make sure, and you talked about making a plan. Can you guys talk about what does it mean to make a voting plan?
Well, anytime you want to do anything, you should definitely have a plan, and also to include others, right? Be intentional, not just say, okay, I plan on going here. I plan on talking to this person, people in my family. I love the fact that we went through a training and said, sometimes it's hard for you to reach out to people you don't know. Start within. Start having conversations. Pick up the phone and call. You talk to them every day anyway. Just ask them if they're going to vote. It don't take but 2 seconds. You vote. Seriously. So have an actual voting, especially if it's something that you're really passionate about. 9 times out of 10, the people you're around will probably feel the same way as well. So just have those conversations. Your voting plan is not just about you. It's about, inviting everybody else to support it. So, yes.
There you go. Your voting plan is not just about you. So, yes, in this special election, everyone who is registered can vote.
Yes.
If you are a Republican or a Democrat, you will get the Republican or Democrat with the primaries, but then the constitutional amendment dealing with women's reproductive rights will be on that. If a person is unaffiliated, they do not need to declare because it's a special election, and they would just get the ballot that just has the constitutional question on it. Yes. Libertarians would get the libertarian ballot because that's the only, you can either be Republican, Democrat, or Libertarian or unaffiliated in Kansas. Those are the only ways that people are differentiated out. Everyone can vote. Everyone, please come out to vote. This is a very important vote. And remember, the question is really the question is whether or not who gets to make the decision about women's reproductive rights. If we have bodily autonomy or not, that will be a yes vote says that what we're doing is turning over the bodily autonomy question to the legislature. A no vote actually changes nothing. A no vote leaves everything exactly the same, but that women have the decision-making capabilities to make the decisions for their own body and autonomy and healthcare and personal integrity, the whole nine.
Yeah.
So having said that, we're coming up on 29 minutes. I want to thank you so much for sharing a half an hour with us. Joanna, thank you for joining and giving us your perspective as an intern. I hope that this inspires a couple other young people out there to go, hey, she did it. Maybe I should get involved with Destination Innovation in any of their 3 programs. Please go check out the website and find out what they're doing with youth down in the Wichita area. Thank you so much, Jondalyn, for coming on. It's nice to see you again. And I do wish you well. We're coming up here on the end. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. And I will see everyone next Monday. Okay.